Hi, I Forexed my account in less than 3 days. That's a 300% gain. And here in this video, I'm going to show you how I did it, what happened, and why I think this is actually less risky than you may think and it sounds. Yes, in this video, we're just going to go through the risk structure and we're going to talk about how it happened. And I'm also at the end, because this can be faked with like demo accounts and things like that. I'm going to show you that it's real, it was live, and there's a link to my FX book in the description of like a verified account. So you can check that out. In my last video, I explained in detail how I planned to do this, and some of you may have watched that. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it because it goes into a bit more detail about what I planned to do and the risk structure of it all. But simply, the plan was to risk 100% of the account per trade, looking to get a true 2-trade win streak with a 1-to-1 risk to reward. Now, if you do that, that will Forex your account. I'm Sam. I've been profitable since July. I've got a free Telegram with the links in the description where I share everything, all my trades, everything I'm thinking, everything I'm doing, all my analysis, anything going on in the Forex world. So if you're sort of starting out in your journey and you want some just free analysis to just guide you, then check it out. It's mainly support and resistance and just sort of basic price action. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to address is how stupid is this strategy? Well, on face value, it sounds really risky. Getting your money, putting it in an account, putting it all on the line on one trade, and then doing that again. But if you watch the last video, you'll know there's actually about a 25% chance of that happening. So it's not as bad as it may sound initially. The other thing that you need to be aware of is you shouldn't be doing this with all of your money in one account. Let's say you've got one sort of reasonable sized trading account with like, let's say 3 grand in it, 3K. Well, you should not be doing this with 3K. If you've got 3K to trade with, then I suggested in the previous video that you break this up into 8 to 10 accounts with much smaller amounts of money. So in fact, when you're actually risking one trade with a whole account, say that account is £300, well, actually that's actually just 10% of your total money. So it's actually very similar to risking a smaller percentage of a large account. But what I find this helps is it helps you to be very selective with the trades, knowing that if you get it wrong, you need to restart and create a new account and go all over again. The other thing this will do is it actually compounds quite quick. Obviously, the first trade is 100% gain, and then the second trade is 100% gain of that new balance. So the compound is very quick. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the trades I took. There's only 2 to go through, but the risk structure and everything, and we're just going to go through it. Okay, so here, if you watched the last video, you'll know this spreadsheet. We were on it last time, but obviously without these bits of these trades. But yeah, essentially, this is the idea. You should really watch the last video if you're not clear on what's happening. But yeah, this would be you deposit 50 if you successfully double 2 trades in a row. That's £200 win, which means after the deposit, it's £150 profit. And then here I talk about how actually after a couple rounds, you might want to slightly increase the starting balance because it's a 25% chance of this happening and you've got 8 goes. So in theory, you should win 2 of these goes. And then over here, there's just a slightly different way of doing it where we just decided to keep the amount the same every single account. Okay, so the first one we're going to look at, this is strictly using H1 zones. There's no real reason for that other than that when you're risking the whole balance of your account in one trade, you can't place any other trades. So I don't want to be in a daily zone waiting days for this to play out. I'd quite like it to be quite quick. The other thing, which again, this is in the last video, you need to make sure you have very high leverage. I got a few comments saying it's not possible in the UK, but I do it. It's IC markets. I'll put a link to them in the description if you need it, but there's 500 to 1 leverage available with them. So here you'll see that I risked $125 on the first trade, and that's what I was looking to, 4x. But in the account, there was actually $175. So that extra 50, it's just a buffer to make sure you don't get margin called. I'm never going to trade with that 50, but that's just why it's there. So here we go. So the first one, we're going to look at the first entry. So the H1 entry here on Euro USD. So it was in a downtrend, but it's rejected this zone. Not that it's a super clear zone, but there's definitely rejection. And it started to make a higher low and a higher high. And that was enough for me to think this maybe is better than a 50-50 chance now. So as you can see here, bounce off support, made a higher low and looking to make a higher high. That's it really. It's not too complicated. We keep it quite simple. You just need to accept that you're going to be wrong a lot of the time in trading, depending on your risk to reward and everything like that, you are going to be wrong. And once you accept that and you just allow yourself to be wrong and let it happen, that's when I noticed it became so much easier. With less stress, I start to actually win more because I was really a lot carefree about what would happen because I know I'm due a loss. Like it's just maths, it's basic maths. You're not going to win every time. Okay, so now we're going to look at the exit screenshot. Okay, so as you can see, obviously initially it looked like I actually got a bad entry because then it started to downtrend again. And this is where you could think of exiting because it's just made its lower low. Am I wrong? But in fact, when you do that, it just messes with the statistics. And in this scenario, you could argue that it's actually a right thing to do. It's made a lower low. It's against you. It's looking unlikely now, but you just have to let the stats play out. Otherwise, all this mathematical risk structure that we went through in the last video, it doesn't mean anything. You have to just accept it. And when you're wrong, and accept when you're right. And here, admittedly, we got a little bit fortunate because it looked like this overall big downtrend was going to continue, at least on the H1 chart, but we came back and got a winner, which is great. Okay, now we're going to look at trade number 2. So here we just said breaking the zone and the overall downtrend is continuing. That's it. So we're going to look at the entry screenshot now. So on this trade, just to be clear, I made $125 on the last one, and then the balance became $250. So we now risked the whole balance, which was $250, plus the $50 which I deposited to avoid margin calls. So yeah, there we go. Okay, so here's the entry screenshot. As we can see, it's sort of made this little double top, it's made its lower low. Now, obviously, this entry here is like not perfect compared to that zone. We would love it to be a bit higher, but the fact of the matter is, I think it's going to go down. I think this downtrend is going to continue, and if the downtrend is going to continue, then I'm right. Even if my target was lower, it doesn't matter. I've put my stop above these recent highs. It's starting to downtrend again. The overall trend was down. This lined up with a daily and H4 trade I was looking at taking anyway, which this is sort of, if you thicken up this zone, it was a big daily zone anyway. So it was like a nice break and retest, which was forming. So yeah, there's my reasons for entering. Okay, and now here we're looking at the exit screenshot. So I added a new little mini zone here as the trade started to play out. But yeah, it quite easily took a couple of days, but it quite easily just went and hit the profit target. So that was it. Okay, so they're the 2 trades that I took. That took me from 125 to 250 and then to 500. So we made Forex gains on that, which is great. Now I'm going to show you here my MetaTrader. So here's the statement. With PayPal, for some reason, it wasn't an instant deposit. So that's why there's like a double deposit and then the withdrawal. But yeah, essentially the EURUSD, the first trade, we can pop it up here. That shows you there. Made 132 on that, so actually just over 125 in the end. And then on this next one, New Zealand dollar JPY, you can see the same thing. So the trades that I just outlined in TradingView for a total of, here you go, $390 profit. So slightly over than Forex in the end. For those of you that want to see it, there's a link in the description. But yeah, here's a link to my FX book. So again, just like confirming like what it was, like how much I risked and everything, and the percentage gains. Now here, the percentage gain is going to say 223. That's because the deposit was bigger than what we ended up risking. So it's not completely 300% gain because you've got a bit more in the balance than what you're actually playing with. But the idea of it is that there's a pool of money that you're risking and you're forexing that. So my plans for the future is to continue to do this on H1 alongside my main account, which will be a bit slower paced, where I trade daily H4 zones. I'm more confident in that, but this is a bit more, almost a bit of fun. It's like a small amount of money, £100, $125, an amount which really doesn't matter to me too much. But if we can start to double up, and Forex accounts once or twice a month, that would be quite cool. Now, lastly, the last thing I want to show you, if you're interested, there's this new Discord server which I've started. It's full of people in here, like-minded people who are also trading. We do group calls once or twice a week. I put them in this events tab here, so it'll tell you when the next group call is. You can register as interested. I share all my trades, what I'm doing it, and everything and why I'm doing it, which is feel free to watch. We've got a main chat where we can talk about anything. We've got shared analysis. We've got this guy at the moment, Jay, here, who's just showing absolutely everything he's doing. He's had a very profitable week. He's up 3R this week, or 3R today even. At the time of recording, so he's having a good week. So it's not just me which is valuable, there's other people in here too which are profitable. But if this is something that interests you and you would like to join or trial it out, feel free to email me. My email is going to be in the description, because spots are opening back up at the start of January. At the moment it's full. We took on just over 20 people, so there's 22 people right now. Yeah, we're going to go from there. Wicked. So if you're still watching, thanks a lot for watching. Any comments, any questions, drop them below. If there's any videos that you'd like me to do in the future, or any sort of risk structure or strategy, then drop them in the comments too, because I'm happy to do that for you. So yeah, cheers everyone, thanks for watching.